And I wanted to come back on here and finish up the discussion that we were having earlier today. But I wanted to go under a different title. Uh-oh, there's a wasp. Come on, get out of here. Everybody goes crazy when they see a wasp, right? All right, I wanted to finish up on the discussion that I had that we started earlier today. It's not raining anymore, um, so we are able to. And look at that, I got stuff all in my beard. Look at this. See, this is the problem right here. I don't get on and do. I just get on as soon as I think about it. But all right, um, we're talking about the mystery of the sky. Talking about the secret religion. Um, you guys, we discussed earlier that in the world will lead you down a path of confusion, down a path of misdirection, down a path of ignorance. Do you understand what I mean? And so we discussed that if you believe in the universe, worldly, billions of years of light, billions of light years of space time, if you believe the earth is round, if you believe there are planets, if you believe those planets could possibly have other life on them, if you think that we're living in the, the universe that they of Star Wars and Star Trek, then you are in the secret religion. You are in a religion that you don't know is a religion. Do you guys understand? A religion is framed uh, as a religion is framed as the worship of a deity, right? But what a religion actually is, and what is more, you know, what is better, well, how it's better described is as a worldview, because you're not just worshiping these other deities, you're listening to what the deities tell you about the environment that you live on, the environment that you live in. So, along with being a religion, a worshiping, doctrine, you also have uh, an environment that is made or that is told to you based on the entities that you worship, right? So we know that there's a firmament in heaven and that there's pockets and a hollow space underneath uh, in hell because the Bible tells us these things. The Bible tells us that there is a section underneath the earth dedicated to the souls of the dead. It's a hollow place inside the earth, in the ground of the earth, right? We also know that in the heavens, there's a structure, a solid, if you guys can look, let's flip it around, a solid structure that is literally blue, right? That is blue crystal. If you look at the book of Exodus, I believe it's chapter 19, it talks about how the firmament glows blue. If you look at, of course, Genesis 1, it talks about the creation of the firmament and that there are waters beyond the firmament. This is what we see. We see literally a blue sky, which looks like a blue ocean. Do you understand what I mean? Looks like a blue ocean. And it's because there's a great, vast ocean that's sitting on top of the solid structure that is separating earth from heaven. Do you see what I mean? And so we understand all this because the Elohim of heaven has told us this, right? It's not like we can ourselves get up and rocket all the way up there and see ourselves what's there. We can't. We know that rockets don't go past what, because there are planes, doesn't mean that we can fit a person into the atmosphere and then send him off on his way. No, there's a solid structure up there, and they know that. They've been sending nuclear bombs into the sky since the 50s, and the nuclear bombs never get past a certain, you know, height up. Do you understand what I'm saying? They never get past, they always explode premature to them being into outer space. Do you understand what I'm saying? They always blow up at a specific point. This means that they're hitting something there. The reason why they sent a bunch of bombs into the atmosphere is to see if they could break or damage the firmament, or to see if they could have any effect on it, any electrical effect, anything. This is why they did those tests, those high altitude nuclear tests. One of them being called Operation Fishbowl. Like there's a fishbowl over top of us, right? And so we talked this morning about there being hidden religions and hidden information within religion. Um, in science, there's hidden science too. Do you understand what I'm saying? That within the science, there are experiments and there are lines of research that are actually researching things that you would think would be paranormal, or fantastic, right? Fantastical things that wouldn't be, you wouldn't think would be real. But in actuality, they're shooting atomic bombs, not no cheap thing, shooting atomic bombs into the upper atmosphere to watch them explode. No, to test the strength of the firmament and to test the what would happen, the things that would happen if the firmament were hit. Do you see what I'm saying? And so this level of deception is, not uncommon in history. This is what we talked about earlier today, that the Egyptians had a high religion and a low religion. And in the high religion, they had all of this different information than the people of the low religion, right? And so we have today the solar system mumbo jumbo, which is low religion. Do you guys understand? And in this low religion, there are entities that can be considered deities, right? These aliens, these creatures that supposedly come from outer space, come from other planets, and they come and give a doctrine, right? That you know we seeded the earth millions of years ago. This is one of the things that they say, um, that the religions of the world all have it wrong, and the world needs to come together under one flag. All of these things are, the doctrines of these creatures, as according to the mythology, according uh, uh, to the research, right? Because some of these experiences that people are having are real, but they're in a manufactured environment. And since people believe in this manufactured environment, the entities follow suit. We know the entities to be the fallen angels, the long talked about creatures that also exist on the earth. We know from Revelation chapter 12 that Satan, when he fell to earth, he took a third of the angels of heaven, or a third of the stars of heaven, and they fell to the earth with him. And so, what I used to believe, or what I used to think as a kid, is, if they fell with him, where are they? Do you see what I'm saying? Why don't we see them? Where could they possibly be? Do you see what I'm saying? There's these intelligent spiritual beings that exist on the earth, and they have all of these special powers, but you can't see them anywhere. I mean, they're nowhere to be found. That don't make any sense, right? This is what I thought. This is me thinking as a man, right? Where are they? I don't see them anywhere. Do you see what I mean? And people would say, okay, well, where are they then? Where do we see them at? And the answer is that you wouldn't necessarily see them. Do you see what I mean? Since people have knowledge of Elohim, right? Whether they believe Elohim to be whatever they believe, they have knowledge of Elohim. And not only do they have knowledge of Elohim, but they have knowledge of the Elohim of the Bible, the true Elohim. So, with that being the case, when you see these entities on earth, these entities know that they're the enemy. Do you see what I'm saying? These entities are not like a squirrel or a rabbit that doesn't have any concept of what it is and who its enemies are. But here's the thing, the squirrels and rabbits do too. You won't always see a squirrel, you won't always see a rabbit. You know, they know how to hide themselves, just like they know how to dodge, just like anything else. And then if you're a spiritual entity and you are known to be an enemy of mankind, then wouldn't you hide? If the Bible outs you, if the book of Enoch outs you as being fallen to the earth, if the book of Revelation outs you, are you just going to show up and say, hey, here I am? No, you're not. You're going to, you know, you're going to choose specific people that you're going to go to. And you're going to convince those people of some lie about who you are. And then you're going to reintroduce yourself to mankind. And that's what we're seeing here. We're seeing the mystery religion unfold and these entities reintroducing themselves as something else. Now that there's been 500 years of a false environment, a false heaven designed for them to come from, now that they can appear to you as gods from this false heaven. Do you see what I'm saying? The universe is a false heaven. It's a made up version of heaven. Heaven is, of course, the abode of Elohim, and there's a temple there. There's, the houses, the mansions. There's a throne, and there's all these millions of entities that live there. And they're all different, right? They're different types of entities. Some of them are in the forms of human. Some of them are in different, in the forms of wheels. Some of them are in the forms of dragons, and these are the good ones, right? Some of them have four faces, and then they're all spiritual entities, so they can appear as what they want, but they have a natural appearance, right? And so they're in heaven. And if this is the nature of the entities of heaven, the ones that were in heaven, then the ones that are on earth will have the same sort of appearance and abilities, right? So the ones that are on earth, we know from the Bible, are the evil ones. And we know that there are good ones that come on earth too, but the ones that are in control of the earth, that this is their environment, um, they are the evil ones. They are the wicked ones. And since that is the case, we understand that when we see these strange things happening on the earth, that more than likely it's the adversary doing these things and having these spiritual things happen. And so, with that being said, I want to go into a concept that I'm making a video about. This is Secret Religion 4 of UFOs, right? We've always thought, you guys, this is amazing. We've always thought that UFOs were these crafts, right? These, spaceships that were able to traverse this vast um, expanse of time and space from some other planet somewhere. You know, we then find out, through basic research into some of these encounters, quote unquote, that these encounters are no different from hauntings that have happened for thousands of years. That spiritual beings manifesting themselves to humankind um, is an ancient concept and attested to in every single religion. And them coming from the heavens is exactly what this new form of the religion is telling you that they're doing, except it's giving you a new heaven and then a new entity. In the ancient times, these entities were called gods, right? They were called gods, and they were not made of flesh and blood. They were made of spirit, and spirit has some incredible qualities. Do you understand what I mean? Spirit can shapeshift. Spirit can inhabit flesh. Spirit is wind, is the same thing that's blowing the trees right now, except an animated form, a living form of the thing that we're feeling all around us right now. Ruach. Do you understand? An invisible force, right? Not gravity, spirit. And this is the science of religion, not the religion of science, the science of religion. And this is what the Bible promotes. This is what the Bible tells us. And this is the real science of the world. Beyond the physical aspect, there's a spiritual aspect, which then entails a whole new science. But what those evil spirits have done is convinced you that they were flesh and blood, bolt and nut, right? So when we discovered that these aliens that we once thought were these gray, big eye, big head things that were flying spaceships, we thought that they were these flesh and blood creatures that could be shot or, that could be captured and, that would bleed and all of these different things that a human would be able to do. Once we found out that that wasn't the case, we recognized really quickly that these must have been the fallen angels, the demons that people have been talking about. The fallen angels or the demons. We know that the demons are just the children of the fallen angels. But the fallen angels or the demons that have been around for a very, very, very long time. Do you understand what I mean? We understood once we looked at the evidence, because this is what people are not doing. They're just taking the narrative and not looking at the evidence, not interpreting the evidence for themselves with all the other available evidence that we have, the thousands of years of historical record, telling us what they are. We're disregarding all of that and following the modern interpretation. So once we looked at the evidence and figured out what they were, we also have to understand that there's a second step. So people are seeing things in the sky, lights and all sorts of weird things, right? All sorts of ships or what looks to be ships in the sky, right? And we're not saying that there are not some instances where there are new types of aircraft that the government or whoever is able to design and build, right? We're not saying that that's not the case, but what we're saying is that this is the minority. That if there are these new crafts, not you haven't seen them, or what people are seeing is not that. Do you see what I'm saying? What people are seeing in the skies are a creature that we had no idea existed, a style of angel. Imagine that when you're looking at the clouds, we see the clouds as clouds, right? But what does the Bible say? That Satan is the prince of the power of the air. Now, how and why is that the case? Look at that cloud, y'all. How and why does the Bible call Satan the prince of the power of the air? Because that's one place where his people live. Do you guys understand what I mean? The sky is one place where his people live. Not in the heaven of heavens, not beyond the firmament, but in the open part of heaven, the open expanse before you get to the firmament. When we take planes, we go there. Do you see what I'm saying? And what then are we doing when we go into this upper atmosphere? Are we alerting creatures that live up there that we are here? If Satan is the prince of the power of the air, when we see UFOs, does that mean that they're not spirits themselves? The Bible talks about a type of angel that is a wheel, or a wheel within a wheel. And this is in the book of Ezekiel. That wheel is covered with eyes and comes in a cloud. A style of angel that comes in a cloud. Behold, Yahushua comes in a cloud, right? Behold, he cometh with the clouds, and every eye will see him, right? So, guys, do you understand that being the prince of the power of the air that Satan is, that he is going to be able to control the entities that live in the air? Do you understand that some of these clouds, maybe not here, of course, I'm just giving you some examples of clouds here, that sometimes when you're looking at the sky at a strange cloud, that it's not a cloud, that it has every possibility to be an entity unto itself. Do you guys understand that there are spiritual creatures, lots of them, that are living in the sky? So let me just tell you guys about some of the strange reports about UFOs. We've all heard that UFOs sometimes hide in clouds, right? We've all seen the movie Independence Day, right? Where, I'm right here on the porch.
Can we use this mop?
There should be plenty of good mops in there for you to use.
Yeah, like, cause the boys want to use one of the mops, and I'm using one, and they want to use another one.
Right, there's two already in there.
Yeah, but one's the dry mop.
Let me pause this real quick. How do I pause this? All right, go in for a second, and I'll be in there in a minute.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and use that one, but you better not mess it up. This needs to be the dry mop, and you use the other two.
Yes, sir.
You need to use bleach too. Is there bleach in there?
Yes, sir.
You need to make a bucket and use bleach.
Yes, sir.
After you sweep.
Sir?
After you sweep.
Yes, sir.
All right. And if you can imagine a creature that lives in the sky and lives in an environment in the sky that is completely above and out of the grasp or even mental grasp of humans on earth, that you could be a spiritual entity and exist in an entire world unto yourself in the sky, right? And when we look up and see lights in the sky, or lightning behaving funny, or clouds that are not moving with the wind around it, or clouds that are too high or saucer shaped, or anything like that, we could be witnessing one of these entities revealing itself to us. Do you understand what I'm saying? Let me give you a little bit of background history. We have seen that these entities hide in the clouds, right? We've seen that these entities appear to be clouds. We've got pop culture which displays this very thing, right? So some of the stories that are coming out about, some of the old stories that are coming out about UFOs have to do with UFOs being, self-illuminating things that are traveling through the sky and coming down from the sky and then going directly back up to the sky. There's actually even been reports of UFOs coming down, hovering over the water, and drinking water. There have been reports of blood raining from the sky, of slime raining from the sky, of meat, frogs raining from the sky. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you guys understand what I'm saying? That we could be witnessing the feeding habits and the the system, the digestive system of a half spirit, half physical, new creature. Do you see what I'm saying? The Ophanim were full of eyes in the Bible. That means that they were appearing to be physical, right? Do we know what it means to appear to be physical? We see that Yahushua, when he was in a spiritual state, came and had something to eat. Do you see what I mean? We see the angels that came to Abraham being fed. Do you understand what I'm saying? Somehow, when a spiritual creature becomes flesh, it needs to do the things of the flesh, like eat, right? For some reason. These are very strange concepts for us to deal with. But if we understand that in the sky, there's a whole other environment, and in that environment is full of things that have been historically tricky. Do you understand what I mean? There's a movie that came out that talks about this very thing, that aliens, that UFOs have the potential to be earthbound creatures, not creatures that are from another planet or anything silly like that. We know that other planets don't exist, that they're just living in an ecosystem that we haven't discovered exists yet. That the entities know we haven't discovered that this ecosystem exists and are presenting themselves as something else. They've been called sky whales. They've been called jellyfish of the sky. I call them ghosts of the